Now we're on. So, I mean, the people watching, of which there are none,
Good.
know who we are.
And Hal's not with us?
Not right now. He's got something going on with his car.
Oh.
As in getting it looked at to make sure it's okay.
Hal has a car?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
He
know
just-
that either.
He struggles driving for long distances.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we'll go around, introduce who's here. I'm Mason.
Allie.
Lisa.
Tara.
Elaine?
Sue.
And this week we're doing Daniel 7. So I'm just going to pray us in.
Yeah. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are and the love you have for each of us. We thank you for our blessings. We thank you for your grace and love, and that you've left us with your word, that you were behind all the writers who wrote it, and it's inspired and the truth, and that we have it in our hands to study and read each week. We thank you for this group, that we can gather and have the freedom to do that in this country. We ask that you bless those who are not with us tonight, which is quite a few, and that somehow you are with them and they can find time to study the Word, and that you know more than we do what each one of them needs and also what each of us needs. We're all sinners. We all were born that way, Lord, and it's by your grace that the Holy Spirit's in each of us. We have so much to look at tonight. Chapter 7 of Daniel is a pivotal chapter. I hope we can do justice with it, and that you will open our eyes and our hearts to see what each one of us needs to see. We ask that you especially be with Deanne and Kendall tonight and do some miracles, if that is your will. We take tonight's study and we place it in your hands, Lord, and we thank you and bless you, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So,
Lisa's leading us.
What?
Okay.
Actually, more so like Brett and Armstrong are
That's okay.
Yeah.
because
Well, we all do.
I listened to Brett and was taking notes from his, and then I printed out, since Armstrong has the notes. I just ended up printing them out and then comparing both. And I know they both do, but I know Brett jumped around a lot. He would go into Ezekiel and Isaiah and Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they all did.
Yeah.
Thessalonians, Colossians.
Yeah, and
Crazy.
right. So the first 6 chapters are like chronological order of the kings, and then this chapter kind of goes backwards to the first reign of King Belshazzar. So that falls between chapters like 4 and 5. So let's see. So, and then I'm just not totally organized either because it's so last minute. All right, so the timeline places Daniel in his mid-60s and still serving the king of Babylon at the beginning of Belshazzar's reign.
What'd you say, 560? What year?
His mid.
Oh, he's
places
in his
Daniel
60s.
mid-60s and still serving the king.
Okay.
This dream and its interpretation, as we know, parallels the dream God gave to Nebuchadnezzar and in chapter 2, but it adds more important new details.
The new and improved horrifying.
Yeah, right. And chapter 2 is. Did you just text me?
Yeah, I sent 2. pictures to everybody
Oh, okay.
that we can refer to later on your phone.
I like
In
how
the chat.
so chapter 2 is with the statue is man's perspective. Chapter 7 is God's perspective of man. Like, yeah, I thought that was interesting because he's gonna really get into what these beasts look like. So
Yeah, who had the dream of the statue?
Nebuchadnezzar,
He was a pagan king. Who interpreted that dream?
the Jew, the
Daniel,
Daniel.
the faithful one.
Yeah, no,
Who had the second this dream?
right.
Who
Right,
had
Daniel, and he needs
and
an
who interpreted
interpretation.
it?
They don't
They-
really know, but an interpreter ain't,
They
probably
think it's an angel. So that's the divine interpreting it
Right.
versus,
Right.
that just helps clarify a little.
Right, that the interpreter of King Nebuchadnezzar's dream can't interpret his own dreams.
Yes.
Daniel couldn't interpret his own dream. He needed an interpreter.
And it
So
was
then
a-
that means that it's divine.
That is, it's a holy.
I'm just curious, because I only listened to Joe, and I liked his take on it, where he believes they're talking about, and I don't know if the other pastors felt the same or if they took the old belief on, that this is actually talking about the beasts of the end times, and not what originally was thought of Babylon,
Right.
and because everything that they talk about is before, in that time frame when you translate it, means in front of. So he believes they were, and some other evangelicals believe that means that they were all there at the same time. Yeah. So what did the other pastors how did
They did. Somebody did talk about that. It
was-
might have been
I
Joe.
wanted to go back
Yeah.
and listen to him again because he was the only one who did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when I read it, I did not think of the statue. I immediately thought of the 4 beasts of Revelations. So I don't know. That's why I was curious.
Yeah, not Pastor Armstrong didn't feel that way. Pastor Brett didn't feel that way.
What do you mean? Didn't feel that way?
That it's representing the countries today.
And that that was Rome. It was Rome. Like the fourth
Beast.
the fourth beast is Rome, but we're still in.
We're
the
still
fourth.
in that fourth beast.
We're
But
still.
he felt all the beasts were like, one beast was, the bear was Russia.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That was Pastor Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He
Oh,
was
that
the
is-
only one who,
Right.
and I listened to him first. And then, so it was a big
A
contrast.
big difference.
And then none of the others felt
Now,
that way.
what were your thoughts? I was curious.
But the only thing he said that that Babylon was not a lion with wings. But then the others all said, "Oh, if you go there now, it's because he said you can't find it anywhere in history that Babylon was represented by a
lions.
lion with wings.
And
it was
was
only
it?
a lion." But then all the other pastors, so I didn't have a chance to go look it up yet. We did have that one, the gate of Ishgar.
Yeah.
Didn't I have a pic? But I thought, well, why is he saying that when all the others are saying no? That was Babylon was the lion with wings.
I know somebody said that they thought it was England.
Well, that's what he said, that he thought it was England because of the English flag, and then the eagle was the United States, and then the bear was Russia. I have it all written down.
But the only thing is, they all.
But there is nobody. The last beast, the horrible beast, is not represented by any country.
No,
I thought it-
animal, compared. Like Daniel doesn't have the animal comparison
Right.
either for that fourth one.
And I was
Yeah, we're
thinking it was
different.
Islam.
No, yeah, he said no.
No.
He said it's going to come out of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is what I have written down here. He said that the 4th beast, he believes, let's see, that all of these kingdoms, all of these beasts together form that kingdom under the Antichrist.
Mm-hmm.
That was his. I thought it was an interesting.
That's why there's so many horns.
Yes, and little horn is the Antichrist.
Right.
But yeah, he kept going on about like how before and is never used in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, well, this guy came before this guy and this guy came before this guy. It's like they were before each other. So he believes that because of that translation, that's why.
Yeah, I did listen to him too, and I remember him saying that. I think
the
he might have been.
Babylon thing.
Well, here's the Ishtar Gate. Now wait, let me see if I can find.
All right, well
Is that the
let's
place?
get into reading.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Go ahead, bud.
So
You
Tara,
have
do you want to read
Google
Daniel
Yeah.
7:1-6?
Yes. I'll just find it. Okay. In the first year of King Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel saw a dream and visions of his head as he lay in his bed. Then he wrote down the dream and told the sum of the matter. Daniel declared, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up out of the sea, different from one another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Then as I looked, its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man. And the man of a man was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second one like a bear. It was raised up to one side. It had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And it was told, arise, devour much flesh. Through 6 or... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. After this I looked, and behold, another like a leopard, with 4 wings and a bird on its back. And I'm sorry, I lost my spot. And the beast had 4 heads, and the dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, well, I just went into 7. I'm sorry. Never mind.
right.
I'm losing
That's
my
right.
mind.
So this dream and its interpretation parallels the dream God gave Nebuchadnezzar in chapter 2, but it adds important new detail. So, taken as a whole, this chapter reveals more detail about future events than any other chapter in the Old Testament. The only other place in the Bible comparable to this chapter is the book of Revelation. So the Lord is speaking to the final king of Babylon through Daniel in the same way he spoke to the first king of Babylon concerning the same subject. The meaning of symbols will always be given somewhere in the Bible. So first, when you're looking at that, first you consult the immediate text for an answer. If none is found, then look elsewhere in Scripture for an explanation of the symbol. If still no answer is found, we look elsewhere in the Bible. But in all cases, we will find an answer. Mm-hmm. So, he was all over. So, the seas. The seas, what is that a symbol for?
The chaos. Right?
The world, the Gentiles.
Yeah.
Right, it's the Gentile nations.
Mm-hmm.
So the beast came out of the sea.
Oh, that's right. It came forth. They brought it
mine
forth.
Says,
yeah.
Do we know the difference between dream and vision?
Dream is asleep, vision's awake.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Daniel spoke, saying, I saw my vision by night. So when did he see this?
Dream.
Mm-hmm.
In his bed.
In his bed, yeah. 'Cause it's
And
vision.
behold, the 4 winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea. So that's the first vision in there.
The Great Sea usually is...
What did Brett say?
I have the Mediterranean Sea for...
Mm-hmm.
They had the 4 seas they had at that time were Mediterranean, Dead Sea,
Red Sea.
Red Sea, and Great.
The Atlantic?
No.
The one up.
the Great Sea symbolized the nations of the world. Armstrong says particularly the Gentile nations.
Okay.
Winds symbolize spirits.
Is that all he said? The spirits.
Um,
So if, and that's where this new pastor that I sent, he had a take on that I didn't hear in the others.
Okay.
He said the four winds show that whenever you see north, south, east, west, it's the spirits, but the turmoil. Who stirs up turmoil on earth?
Yeah.
Satan.
mm-hmm.
It's the devil stirring all this
Yeah.
up. Anytime you see the east, west, north, and we're going to see it again in Revelation. So he said that he felt that was the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea. That it's demonic, like Satan working behind in that spiritual realm. That
Calling
we
it the
forget
four
about.
winds of
But
heaven
here,
really,
I'm sorry.
like, you wouldn't. That almost seems misleading.
Because it does say of heaven.
And where was Satan cast down from? He was
Right, but
cast
he
out
was
of heaven.
Cast out of it. So would he still be able to do that?
Satan's not working today?
In heaven? Probably
No,
not.
this is the four winds of the heaven we're stirring up the great.
My Bible, my study Bible, the study part, it says Daniel received a vision during the first year of Belshazzar. He saw that four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, a symbol for chaos and potential rebellion against God.
And what does Satan want? He wants
Yeah, chaos and rebellion against God.
Mine actually doesn't say any of that. Mine says, Daniel saw a great storm churning the surface of a great sea with strong winds blowing from every direction. That's
I
very
guess
different.
elsewhere in the Bible, when you see east, coming, and we're going to see that in Revelation, that it's who's stirring up all this chaos.
And mine just says the four winds.
Yeah, mine just says winds blowing
Oh
from
no,
every
it
direction.
does say the four winds of heaven on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine has that nowhere.
Yeah, mine says the four winds of heaven are stirring up the great
Great,
sea.
and he felt the great sea was humanity in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Gentiles
all
overall.
all the people on there, you know, stirring up, because that's what everything's now this way.
Yeah.
That part I understand, but
Okay.
saying it was four winds of heaven and then saying it's Satan at work, I'm like,
I know, and
That's
if you
confusing.
listen to that middle part, he brings in all kinds of other scripture. He does actually.
Who? Brett?
No, the new guy.
Oh, the new guy.
Yeah, but none of the others really.
Touched on that.
But it made sense to me.
it's interesting.
Joe, he said the quote I wrote down from him that I found good was the nations of the world are like a raging sea. He was talking about today.
Nations of the world, right? That's everybody, all of us. Okay,
So,
and the great beast. Yeah, go ahead.
chapter 2, kind of the statute virtually says nothing about the nature of each kingdom. So now this chapter gets into the nature. But beasts do not imply a timeline, as did the parts of the statute. Instead, the beasts emphasize the nature of each kingdom. So this dream confirms the earlier interpretation and adds important information about what to expect in each kingdom period. Most importantly, this chapter focuses our attention on the final stage of the fourth kingdom, which there's actually 5, not 4, because the stone that takes out the toes and the feet
Right.
becomes the final kingdom. What?
That's Jesus, right?
Yep. So at the conclusion of the fourth stage of the statue, a new kingdom was established from heaven. So as we learned in chapter 2, the final kingdom is the kingdom of Christ, and he establishes at his second coming. So let's see, when do we go? It's got a lot.
So the four great beasts are
So now in chapter 7, we're going to learn important details about how the last kingdom comes to an end in preparation for the Lord's return. So he gives a little more detail in this chapter of that fourth kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Stream just full on crashed.
Oh.
Okay, I think it came back up. There might be a weird split in the audio at some point online, but I think we're back up. Everything says it's working now. Sorry.
See, that's why I don't. So the four kingdoms have already appeared in history. Babylon, the Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome have all come.
From our viewpoint.
Yeah.
But when Daniel has this dream, they haven't.
That's right.
Well, no, but for it to be all at once. What Joe was saying.
For them to all be at once,
Yeah.
right?
So as the world moves to the final period of the fourth kingdom, our interest naturally goes to the age of the Gentiles end. Yeah, which Pastor Brett, so he was saying, he was saying about a gap between the legs and the feet. The gap is the church age. So like that last kingdom, Rome never really
Was conquered.
was conquered.
It just kind of fell apart.
Right. So,
But the two before that were conquered.
right.
Babylon was,
So
Israel was conquered. Babylon was conquered.
he said it's sort of coming back when they signed the Treaty of Rome in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
And they started forming the European Union. So could you imagine, for the Bible prophecy scholars at that time, you've got
They had,
Israel becoming a nation again in 48,
Mhm.
and the European Union, and at first they had 10.
Yep.
Could you? I would have, if I was there, like where I'm
Right.
at now, then I'd go, oh my gosh, it's happening. I know I would have been like that because
but now they had 11. Now they had 12. Now
Yeah.
they had 13. Now, so that's not it. Was the point?
No.
right,
My understanding is this will come after. This will come during the tribulation. The great beast.
The fifth one or the fourth one?
The fourth one.
the Antichrist, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
he comes
yes.
during the tribulation.
But we're in that age now.
Oh, yeah.
He explained it. This new guy, like, if you have two mountains, and you're only looking at it from behind this mountain, you're going to see this mountain and this mountain. You do it from, but if you look at it from the front, you're going to see the valley that you're going to miss. So they only miss that this is going to be a period of time, an unknown period of time between the beginning of this fourth beast and the end of that fourth beast.
Sure, because that's the age, the
Church age, right?
That's where we are
have
now.
no idea when the church age is going to end,
Right.
but
Well,
we know we're getting closer
right.
with all of the
And
all the
your
other prophecies.
Your point about when Israel returned, the church at that time had replaced Israel with the church because Israel didn't exist. So think of how they had to change their thinking again. They had a whole different, they thought Israel, the church is Israel now, and the church
still
is
do.
God's.
Some
A
still
lot
do,
of them still
apparently.
do. Yeah. The church is his promise, his child, and this pastor specifically says there's a difference between Israel and the church,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a key point you have to grasp to read and understand prophecy.
So, as we would expect, all the details of the first beast match the history of Babylon perfectly. First, the nation of Babylon used, so Armstrong says, and Brett did too, used both a lion and an eagle as national symbols. It says, in fact, statues have been found in Babylon of lions with wings.
Yeah.
So we
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
know,
we're gonna say there you go.
Maybe some of those drugs got into Joe's brain from before, and he got it mixed up.
But when you come with your, we aren't all going to get it right.
And there's so much it could be.
Right.
So,
And-
all right,
and
so you're
knowing-
gonna research
I'm
that?
gonna look. I just want. I'm curious. I'm sure it's right.
Knowing the Bible, it could all be right, or
Is
it could all be
Babylon?
wrong.
You said Babylon's like what was it? Their symbol or
Their
their
symbol was lion,
Lion
and
and-
the eagle because they
and
were
eagle.
swift. Both showed strength.
Right.
A lion shows strength, and an eagle
Now-
shows strength.
Now this, unless I keep looking, this one just says the Lion of Babylon in history.
Yeah.
So next,
You want to actually,
Research it. Yeah.
come up, find it.
Oh, you know what? I think it was Brett said about the first beast. He said, King Nebuchadnezzar,
Yes.
how he was humbled and then stood back up on his
On his foot, and was God giving his brain back,
and given
and a
human
man's
brain-
heart,
and the heart
back,
So
and his
So
heart.
that's
was
why-
changed.
Oh yeah.
that's why they think
I think that's a perfect picture of him.
yeah.
That's like
Which Armstrong did point that out. It was Brett who pointed that out.
Also having
this
the
guy
wings ripped
did.
off.
He said the exact same thing.
Okay.
That it was, and I think Brett said it was the opposite. Like this says, the first had eagle's wings. I watched till its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand. So Nebuchadnezzar went from a man to a beast.
Mm-hmm.
This is going from a beast to a man. Like,
Well, yeah,
but
but
it
he
could
came
just be the second part when he comes back.
Yeah, because he came back and,
Yeah.
and he had a new
And
had a new understanding of God.
And he
Sure
said
did.
too, we're gonna meet King Neb in heaven.
Yeah. Sorry. Then the next Daniel describes the second beast as a bear raised up on one side with 3 ribs in its mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The bear crushes and rips apart its prey, and we know from then they know that the kingdom defeated 3 major adversaries in its rise to world dominion, the Pedo and Persians. So first they defeated Babylon, later it was Lydia, and Egypt. So there's the 3 ribs. So
And they said it was kind of up on its side because one half of that Medo-Persian was stronger than the other.
Yeah.
So it wasn't evenly balanced.
And then next, Daniel describes a beast resembling a leopard with 4 heads and 4 wings. So history reports that. Oh no, that was Alexander the Great.
Right.
And it says history reports that Alexander pointed to the book of Daniel in his days to prove he was destined to conquer the world. So he conquered territory stretching from Greece to Africa to India, which reflects the swiftness of a leopard. And he did that 3 years. And then during Alexander's life, he delegated governmental control over this vast territory to 4 divisions with a single governor and
Don't throw terror.
I know.
in charge of each. So that would be the 4 heads. And then it was divided after he passed.
To the 4 generals that were
For the
under
4 generals, which then was 4 geographical regions, east, west, north, and south, which was represented by the 4 wings. And that would be Cassander in Europe. These names I can't pronounce. I need Mason.
What's up?
But they're not in
They're not in the actual scripture.
Yeah, it was
It's just history.
yeah, this is history. Asia Minor was
Here. You have the notes there. You want me to come over and try to read them?
You won't be able to read my writing.
They're just the 4 generals. He didn't have
It's
any
alright.
inheritor. He didn't have any children or.
Oh, here, the
Family.
very bottom of this page. I wrote them. It's listed 1, 2, 3, 4, like the last paragraph or the last sentence.
1. Cassander, Europe. 2. Lysimachus, Asia Minor. 3. Ptolemy, Egypt. 4. Seleucus, Babylon, Asia, Syria.
Oh wait, how'd you say Egypt?
Ptolemy.
Ptolemy, yeah.
Usually these are silent.
I've heard
like
that, yeah.
That's a guess. They're all guesses.
They sound good.
Yeah.
Based on other.
They were
It's all.
right.
I've read a lot of books, and they use a lot of like other languages inflections. So
Yeah, but you read the books, right? So you didn't have the books pronouncing them for you. You read them.
okay, that's not fair. I've read a lot of books, and I've watched a lot of things based on them.
Okay.
Because if I would have just read a lot of books, I'd be pronouncing all this stuff wrong.
Like, I've seen a bunch of like shows, anime, so you hear like Japanese, Chinese inflections. Seen a lot of Greek mythology stuff, so you hear a lot of the ways that stuff is pronounced.
Okay.
So you just guess based on other names.
Good. And then too, you probably just have a knack for that.
I won't
Alright.
deny that.
So all these details track with history and with the earlier dream in chapter 2. So the real interest has always been the fourth kingdom. Not only does the fourth kingdom receive the most attention, both in chapter 2 and here in 7, but it's the most important historically. This kingdom will be the one that ushers in the kingdom of Christ one day. So yeah, that's an important kingdom.
I hope it's next week.
That's the fourth kingdom, yeah.
And since we know we are currently living in the fourth kingdom period, then these details are naturally very important to us. All right, Elaine, you want to read Daniel 7?
Can we just, before we go,
Yeah. We'll have
the nature of these beasts, do they get progressively nicer or progressively eat more evil?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The Medes Persian sounds pretty horrible.
Yeah, I don't know if the third sounds as.
Bad as the second.
But they're all
with
bad.
4 heads
Yeah.
and 4 wings, and that sounds more evil than just a bear.
Well, they tell the bear go kill everybody, and they tell the leopard you roll some areas now.
Yeah,
This
right.
pastor
Right.
felt it's showing how society is degrading.
Yeah.
It's not getting better, it's
It-
getting worse.
It could also be argued that political power is worse than physical power because, like, yeah, I can punch my mom in the face, but if she has the authority to put me in a prison or wherever, I could suffer far worse than she did.
Right. Right.
Where
Wanna try it?
Daniel,
No. Where are you going to send me?
Sorry.
Daniel in his dream was just looking at the political side of each. God's showing Daniel the
Human
nature
side.
of
The nature, yeah.
these beasts.
Right.
And then what the nature of these, like each nation that overtakes the previous one is going to be more horrible, and it's going to be
Escalate.
worse. Yeah. Okay, so
Alright,
now you
so-
want me to read
7 through 14.
Okay, after this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had huge iron teeth. It was devouring, breaking in pieces, and trampling the residue with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little one, coming up among them, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots. And there in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking pompous words. I watched till a throne was put in place. No, I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. 1,000 thousands ministered to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were opened. I watched then because of the sound of the pompous words which the little horn was speaking. I watched till the beast was slain, and its body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As for the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. I was watching in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Then to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom the one which shall not be destroyed.
Okay.
Wow.
There's a lot in there.
So this creature was very strong with iron teeth, and it trampled and crushed all the prior kingdoms. So in a way, there's where it's like all together, like not before. And
Takes over the whole earth.
Yeah.
This beast corresponds to the fourth kingdom in this statue, and as with the earlier beast, several details confirm our interpretation. First, this kingdom devours the prior kingdoms, confirming this kingdom is the one that follows the Greek Empire. I don't know though. I was just reading that. I don't know.
It had huge iron teeth. It was devouring.
Yeah, but I mean, it says confirming this kingdom is the one that follows the Greek Empire, but it says it devoured the prior kingdoms, like, you know, and then it goes to singular, Greek Empire. Do you know what I mean? Do you not follow me?
Oh,
It was first the Babylon, then
Yeah,
that was overtaken by
well, each maybe it's just like because each one took over the previous one. Now you have this whole mix. Like it's, and I think that's important because this pastor pointed out that when it says breaking into pieces, like Rome never was
conquered.
Yeah,
and
so
broke into pieces.
yeah.
Right.
and
Or, you know,
it. What was I going to say? Those, because it never was conquered, he let those people all got space somewhere else, so
Right.
they were all let to live
right.
for a time until he brings them back
Right.
and rises and brings this is where we are now. We're not at the end of this yet.
So, in chapter 2, the meaning of the 10 toes wasn't explained, but now the 10 horns in this dream will give opportunity for the Lord to explain.
Yeah, so that the 10 horns.
So, the 11th horn that suddenly appears, it did violence on 3 of the other horns, resulting in only 7 remaining. And where did I see that? Oh, wait. That might be later. That's later. Let me see my notes here. Hang on. I thought I wrote next to it. I think it's later. Yeah, there. Okay. Forget it. Let me skip over that. So the rock represented Christ's second coming. And of course, the statue itself represents the age of the Gentiles.
What are you talking about?
So,
What's the second coming?
the rock represents.
Oh, in the other dream, yeah.
And in chapter 2, the statue was destroyed by the arrival of a rock, not cut by human hands. That rock represented Christ's second coming. And of course, the statue itself represents the age of the Gentiles. So we learn that the age of the Gentiles will end when the Lord returns to set up his earthly kingdom.
Does everybody know what the age of the Gentiles is?
The millennial, the 1,000-year.
Now,
I'm talking about Ancient of Days. Anyway.
What?
I was thinking of something else.
would that be the church age too?
The church
It's
age.
The age
It's
of
where we are now.
So the age of the hang on. Which I've always wanted, because I hear the church age and was like, I need a little more about that. So it's when Jesus was crucified, starts the church age. Jerusalem is destroyed and the Jews are scattered all over the world. The church age that's when the church age began. Also called the age of the Gentiles. And then if you want to learn more about it, read Romans 9, 10, and 11.
Why is it called the age
explains our
of the,
role.
We did learn in Romans.
Right.
Because it was originally just for the Jews, and then when they rejected Jesus, he said, okay, now I'm going to open this, I'm going to save the Gentiles too. So it's, and
Well, I think he always knew he was going to save the Gentiles.
right. But that's just,
That was a trigger.
yeah, he knew they would reject him.
The rejection was a
But
trigger.
it's really the church where we are now, that anybody can be saved, Jew or Gentile.
Right. And that's where, well, chapter 9, 10, 11 explains our role and how we are grafted into the body.
Right.
Remember, we read that. So the church age, but that whole thing, though, the church age being when Jesus was crucified on down to when he comes
To
back.
rapture.
Or till when he comes back, his second coming.
Right.
Ends the church age.
Not the rapture.
Well, the tribulation.
After the tribulation.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
when he comes back. Alright. Oh, so does anybody know what, when they talk about fire, like,
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Fire means cleansing, right?
no,
No.
Judgment.
Wrath. God is a God of wrath. He's a God of... God is the fiery judge. God is an all-consuming fire. You've heard that. That's in Scripture. Mm-hmm. So before we go on to the picture of the throne, the three horns, or the little horn, he's different. It said it was different from all the beasts that were before it. So it's not of those 10 kings.
No, it's a new
right. And
problem.
because he has eyes. And
yeah. Let's talk about the eyes.
And he's talking crap.
did we get there?
Yeah, I read he
Oh, you
has
did that right?
the first, and there
I
in
was
this
speaking
horn
now.
were eyes like the eyes of a
Oh, right.
man,
Yeah.
and a mouth speaking pompous words.
Yeah.
And he got to listen to a speech from it.
Huh?
Daniel got to listen to a speech from it.
Yeah.
I continued to watch because I could hear the little horn's boastful speech. That's verse 11.
Yes. He says, verse 7, yeah.
He's staring at this big, horrifying creature, and it's giving a speech, and he's like,
And he doesn't even have a word. There's no animal anything like what he's seeing, which would be terrifying to him.
An Ancient of Days. Do we know? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, this whole thing's terrifying.
And then these eyes, they said, like, this little horn, he's going to be, this guy said, and this is the only chapter where we learn about this is the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And we learn more in this chapter about the Antichrist than anywhere. And where did I write that?
is the Antichrist, like, by name mentioned anywhere in the Bible?
By name? No.
By being called the Antichrist?
What? Right? Yeah. We'll see it, I think. We didn't come to
By
it.
the word Antichrist, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
One time.
Okay, alright. I wasn't sure.
Oh shoot. Anyway, like he's gonna be all convincing. He's gonna, like he said, he's gonna convince you that you could kill or report your mom, for some crime, like in the name of him, and he's gonna
make you believe up is down, down is
yes,
up.
opposite, right, and he's
is that?
God.
Who
He's
is that
gonna
that you
take the
listen
place of God.
One of them.
And the orator, he said
Okay.
the words coming out of his mouth are going to be so convincing that it's going to be hard to resist him. But these eyes, I mean, can you imagine this little horse has these eyes in his mouth and Daniel's seeing this?
Maybe he's just a real short person.
And he plucked out those
Could be
three
me.
kings. So he totally does away with 3 of the 10 kings.
Mhm.
And there's 7 left. And then, and he comes out of, he's like real insignificant at first. He's like, a leader somewhere that's very insignificant. And all of a sudden he plucks out these 3 and he rises up and he's like all consuming.
And I maybe it's later because I thought I highlighted it. That there's 7 that remain, but the 3 probably were going against him. The 7 that remain are right with him, so he doesn't have to take them out. That's probably later, I think. I must have that in Hawaii.
The 7 that were the 3 that are gone are probably the ones who protected Israel or sided with them. Or,
I'm just wondering,
you know,
with taking out those 3 horns, is that taking out leaders or is that taking out nations? Like
Nations.
Nation.
king.
Like just-
it can be king or kingdoms.
like just full on destroying them, like nuking them.
Just taking them out of the
Oh.
picture. Whether I would think it would mean maybe even just making them irrelevant. Whether it be could be anyway. Whether it could be destruction or it could be financially. If you can you can financially destroy a country too and make it.
Like they think what's going to happen to us.
Yeah.
The U.S. We're not going to be the powerhouse anymore.
In verse 9, when they say the Ancient of Days, who's that referring to?
God.
God, yeah.
And that's the only time that's referred to him as Ancient of Days. I think in the Old Testament. Maybe in the New Testament.
Oh, and then in Daniel. Wait, what did I have?
So why do we jump around? Did they talk about that?
Why we jump around?
Yeah, why
In
we go
Ezekiel?
from his vision and now he's seeing, the vision of in heaven. Like he's seeing all this horrible stuff on earth, and now he sees this vision of heaven.
Oh, right.
Hmm.
I don't think they said why, though.
Well, this pastor
What's going on in
felt
heaven?
it was, this is the only place God is called the Ancient of Days. God is spirit. No one can see God the Father and live. Up until why that's why God had to become incarnate in man as a man, so that. But so picture this. We have this picture of actual heaven now to give us hope. That to give Daniel hope that no matter how horrible this last beast is and what I'm showing you, you have this hope in heaven. And this is. So we learn a lot about what's going to happen when we rapture here too. There's so much here. Yeah, and here I wrote the horn was a smaller king. He will come out not of the other 10 countries, but he's different. He starts small and becomes a big shot. His big mouth, he will be able to inflame passions, capture people's attention, and can convince you of almost anything. And God is giving us a picture of God, the Father in his glory, majesty, perfect judge. And then he talks about the 3 things that God is: the forever judge, God is the faultless judge, and God is the final judge. And God is the fiery judge. So he's all those. We have a lot here. Yeah. Okay.
In verse 13, it says, I kept looking in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man was coming. Son of man, I'm missing where.
That's Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like some say, why did he call himself the Son of Man? Oh, he uses that title 31 times in Matthew. When Jesus referred to himself as Messiah in the Gospels, the title he used most often was Son of Man. Found here in Daniel. He uses the title 31 times in Matthew. I forget, someone, I think probably Pastor Brett talked about that a little bit more, but I don't think
Yeah, this pastor said that reflects his humility, that he was able to, he humbled himself to come to earth. And then Son of David shows that he was a kingly, and Son of God shows that he's holy and godly. Yeah, that's the Trinity, is all three of those things. But like the white as snow and pure like wool. This is a picture. We're going to see the same picture of God in Revelation. That these two books go so close together. And that his throne was a fiery flame. That's a picture of his that he's fierce and
then he's going to pass judgment.
Fiery stream, like his throne. Then the other thrones, this pastor said, are the 24 elders. Yes, the 24 elders will be sitting around him on thrones up there.
Who are the elders?
I guess the early church leaders like Moses, John the Baptist, Abraham, anybody you can think of.
Jacob.
Yeah, all the.
and I know I have that somewhere.
Yeah, and that somewhere. These tens of thousands times tens of thousands.
That's us.
Yes. This is a picture of us after the rapture.
Yeah,
we're all up there, and they're just worshiping him.
Yep.
And Daniel's seeing this and like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm starting to. As I was going through this, I was like,
You started to question things?
The rapture, because the. Did we not get to it yet? I feel like we're like all over the place. But so is my brain. The last half, and I think that's later.
Yeah.
The last half, the 3.5 years of the tribulation, the Antichrist is killing any of the believers, and that. So when Jesus comes back for the second coming, he's coming back with the saints. So
we're the saints.
But and those who were killed, in that 3.5
tribulation says.
Yes.
So that could be us too. So I know I hate to let me keep going. I have notes here.
Okay.
That she's not. She does.
But I feel like this is a picture.
No, but I think
this pastor felt this was a picture of the 7 years of the tribulation.
Yeah.
Till we come back with Jesus, this is what we're doing up there.
Worshiping.
And we're worshiping him, and we're also going to get into it next.
Well,
what else?
You see, hang on, we didn't. All right.
Because he talked about, and the books were open. The court was seated, and the books were open. So what's that mean? That's in verse 10.
It means that judgment has started.
Yeah.
And that
he's recording the deeds of it's like the he's starting to record the deeds of humans.
No, he has them already. God has them already.
But
he writes down everything.
But everybody's in place.
Yeah.
We're in worship.
Yeah.
In his service to him. Now it's going to hit the fan a little bit.
We're going to be judged. This is the judgment time. I'd never heard that before.
And
I thought we were already judged.
You just read?
Yeah. This is a picture of Ancient of Days seated. Okay.
So, all right.
I thought
he repeats this 3 times.
Yeah.
He repeats his dream. The first time you get the big picture, the next time it's in more detail, and the third time it's in even more detail.
But we're already raptured. We're already judged, I thought. Are you talking about judging what is going on during the tribulation?
Let's keep reading.
Yeah, we'll keep reading.
Let's keep reading.
This is just a bit, he defines it further. Okay.
Where do you want me to read to?
Start. I finished 14. Okay. and he said, and Daniel's seeing that this eventually the kingdom's going to be turned over to Jesus, right? And he'll reign forever. That's what this is saying.
So you
That's the main
You
point.
missed some more reading. No, wait. You read through.
I finished 14.
14. Where's
I don't need to read, so if you want to give her half and Mason half.
there we are. So, so if you want to read, so Daniel, 7:15 through 18. I think probably, or you know what? Go through 22. So 15 through 22.
Okay. I, Daniel, was troubled by all I had seen, and my visions terrified me. So I approached one of those standing beside the throne and asked him what it all meant. He explained it to me like this. These 4 huge beasts represent 4 kingdoms that will arise from the earth, but in the end the holy people of the Most High will be given the kingdom, and they will rule forever and ever. Then I wanted to know the true meaning of the 4th beast, the one so different from the others and so terrifying. It had devoured and crushed its victims with iron teeth and bronze claws, trampling their remains beneath its feet. I also asked about the 10 horns on the 4th beast's head and the little horn that came up afterward and destroyed 3 of the other horns. This horn had seemed greater than the others, and it had human eyes and a mouth that was boasting arrogantly. As I watched, this horn was waging war against God's holy people and was defeating them until the Ancient One, the Most High, came and judged in favor of his holy people. Then the time arrived for the holy people to take over the kingdom.
Should we finish it out?
Yeah, we are jumping around a lot. We might as well finish it out, and then we can just talk.
Okay.
Unless you have something you want to get to before the rest of this.
Let me see. Alright, go ahead and finish it out, and I'll go back.
23 to the end.
Yeah.
Then he said to me, "This 4th beast is the 4th world power that will rule the earth. It will be different from all the others. It will devour the whole world, trampling everything in its path. Its 10 horns are 10 kings that will rule the empire. That empire. Then another king will arise, different from the other 10, who will subdue 3 of them. He will defy the Most High and wear down the holy people of the Most High. He will try to change their sacred festivals and laws, and they will be placed under his control for a time, times, and half a time. But then the court will pass judgment, and all his power will be taken away and completely destroyed. Then the sovereignty, power, and greatness of all the kingdoms under heaven will be given to the holy people of the Most High. They will rule forever, and all rulers will serve and obey them." That was the end of the vision. I, Daniel, was terrified by my thoughts, and my face was pale with fear. But I kept these things to myself.
Okay.
Can I be the other side of the coin for a moment? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just, I want to go over what Joe had said. I'm like really interested because I'm surprised that the other pastors like went the opposite way. So now I want to like go home and do some digging and do some research because it's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree.
Well, I told you that the first thing that he used was the way they used before at that time. It wasn't used chronologically, it was used before one another. And the second thing that he kept referring to was verse 17. These 4 great beasts are kings who shall arise out of the earth. Like he's saying it's in future tense rather than in past tense. And that at this point during when Daniel is seeing all this, Nebuchadnezzar is dead for 23 years, and we're pretty much at the end of the Babylonian Empire. Like, we're pretty much at the end of that. And then he started talking about, which my phone's being stupid in here. I can't, I don't have good reception. I pulled up the symbol of Babylon, and all I saw was a line. But whenever I tried to click on to get more, it wouldn't let me. So I'll do it when I get home. But yeah, he also said that. Well, obviously, Little Horn was the Antichrist. That Great Britain he thought was the British lion. That the United States was the eagle. And then he went into something about why, with the wings being taken off and all that, with the eagle. I can't remember exactly what it was that he said. And then the bear, with it being Russian, his allies. The leopard was an alliance that China, Japan, and India, he believes, may eventually get into. And that what happens is with the fourth beast, which the fourth beast is the Antichrist kingdom. It's all
once
of that.
he joins it all.
Yes, it's all of those
the
beasts,
New World Order.
All of those beasts combined. So that I think it could be both. I think it could be a telling of the past, but also the past was a foretelling of the future. Do you know what I mean?
Well, for Daniel, this is the future.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean. So, but Babylon was already done. Do you know? Babylon was on its way out.
I see what she's saying. What she's saying is the none of the beasts can represent Babylon, because when this is referred, when Daniel is told this, that is told to him these are future kingdoms.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So that they cannot be Babylon. They could be Rome. They could be the thing right after Babylon, but they cannot be Babylon.
And I just find it ironic that the eagle, the United States, and United States and England would likely be allies. And then you have the bear, which is Russia. It kind of makes sense. So I think it could either be both, or maybe this is a future representation. Because he did say that he kept bringing up this one biblical scholar from back in the 50s or 40s, I think, who started talking about this and he said that a lot of biblical scholars, after reading it and after translating the text to the way it was back at that time frame, they now believe that this is a foretelling of the end times, and that all three of these beasts are at the same time, and they are building what is going to be the Antichrist kingdom, which is the fourth beast.
So you're saying possibly not, the fourth beast isn't, we're not there yet?
The fourth beast is in its beginnings with the world and what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say probably, in my opinion, with my tinfoil hat stuff, I think a lot of it started in the 20s, the 1920s, with the Industrial Revolution, greed, power, control. Mm-hmm. And then after 1945, after the end of World War II, it just skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. And now, because of technology, it's just, now we're in hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Is that the one you need to get?
The iron.
Grab her. Why?
We'll get her.
Why?
We'll
do her at the end.
Yeah.
We can get her at the end.
That's iron teeth and brass claws.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. It could be. It definitely seems like they're pointing to it being man-made.
Yeah. Yeah.
AI.
Maybe not AI, but certainly man-made.
Well, it was neat too that he talked about, because I same thing thought about the Antichrist being. Now, originally I had heard that it was going to be coming from a powerful family, and a kind of almost not royalty, but a very well-to-do family out of Europe. But then the more I thought about it and the way things are going, I'm kind of thinking more.
Say? This
more
is
of
where
a
we
Muslim.
learn about the Antichrist.
Well, but I think the Bible says he comes out of Europe. Doesn't it? Does it say that, or is mine
says
just?
It's different than these 10 other. The 10 other kings. Yeah. He's different. He starts small. This is. I don't think there's too many places that the Bible tells about the Antichrist.
Mm-hmm.
But this, he said, this is where you learn the most. So we have to pretty much stick, to this.
If the 10 kingdoms aren't
the 10 toes I think what he was seeing maybe is the very end of this, where the 10 toes are all crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they're going to come back together and rise up.
As one nation.
Do we have 10? Has this happened yet?
No.
No, we
No.
don't have 10.
No, we don't have 10 kings anywhere
That's
who are going again. And remember, we're looking at Israel. Who's going to go against Israel?
Everybody.
Right now, we just have the Hezbollah and the that's not kings. We have terrorists going against them now. We don't have kings yet.
I don't know.
Well, Iran is supporting, so there's
I was
one.
like,
Egypt?
There's one.
And then
there's
when-
not 10 yet.
Well, when they start eventually turning, so like Saudi Arabia, I think Saudi Arabia
Any
will
minute.
eventually turn. Oh yeah, they're going to be.
So
done.
this
But
is
we
still-
already have countries turning.
Yeah.
We have Germany.
Yeah.
Germany.
BRICS. Look at what's happening with BRICS.
Yeah, it's
Canada,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right there. Right. So when we have 10, and then this little one is going to pluck. So you're going to see 3 disappear, and then this little one's going to get big.
And it could be civilizations too, right? It doesn't just mean like an individual
No,
leader. It
no.
could be like
He
A
tells
country.
It
us.
did say 10
He
kings.
tells us right here what it says: 10 kings.
10 kings. So
It's
it does.
right here.
It couldn't be like
I mean, I guess
their kingdom because
Yeah.
if you, essentially
Yeah,
if you-
kingdom.
Their
It
kings.
would-
Yes,
could be
a
like-
country.
So it would be their okay. That's what I meant.
So,
yeah,
like-
yeah, that's what I meant.
Could you consider the president a king? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
so
He's a
this
leader.
is 10
Right,
kings,
could be a
but like,
prime minister.
would the humans call it a different thing? Like, it's a king in God's
Exactly.
eyes, but
But when they're seeing it and they're seeing a world leader, they're looking at it as he's going to be.
Well,
king.
he has to make what we have. He has to make Daniel understand that.
yes.
Daniel
so
would
10
understand a king is a kingdom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he
He's
wouldn't
not gonna-
understand what a president
He's
is.
not going to say, "Well, this president and this prime minister."
Right.
Like he's not
Daniel
gonna
wouldn't
know
understand that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't have to, we're not looking at 10 people labeled king, but we're looking at 10 world leaders.
Right.
Who go together against Israel?
So I'm just going to. I'm just
And
going to
then-
go ahead and.
Because it defines. That's what we read, and that's why he's saying it 3 different times in more detail. We're learning more about the Antichrist. We're learning, more about the judgment.
so. Therefore, we know that this prophecy still lies in our future.
Right.
We don't have the 10
They're on the 10.
kings.
We're getting there, though.
There we are.
Right.
Damn quick.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at countries like Jordan
Yep.
and stuff like that, it doesn't take much to get there.
No.
It really doesn't. Because I was just sitting there counting. I'm like, well, wait a second. Because then I'm like, first I'm like, wait, that's not that many.
So here's a thought I had. This is what I was looking for. So the 11th king doesn't. Oh wait.
Yeah, he'd be the
So he
11th.
takes out, when I said about him taking out 3, it says apparently the 11th king doesn't need to humble the other 7 since presumably they don't oppose him.
Right. They go along.
So, my thought was maybe Trump will get in and he'll be one of them that he has to take out because he would oppose him.
Yeah, I honestly think that we're done. We're one of the ones that gets kicked out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're one of
For
the
sure.
ones that gets kicked out.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Ooh, are
oh,
we that
absolutely.
close?
I think that's why the United States isn't
Yeah.
in the end. Like, I don't think you really see it mentioned
We
too
no longer-
much.
But, yeah, we know that. We know we know the United States isn't exist. But I was thinking, is it because Trump gets elected and they take him out because he opposes the world
Probably,
order?
yeah, he does.
He opposes world order.
Right. And then those 10, and then that king and the 7 others, they make the one world order.
Yeah.
That's when it starts.
Oh,
So
yeah.
who else would be taken out? If it would be
Australia, see, they're going along with it now, too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Ethiopia is one. There's African countries that are, like, really very anti the globalism.
Oh right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes
So,
sense.
now, granted, they're not, like, powerful, but...
Right.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, the Ethiopians, because they have such a heavy Christian population there,
I didn't
that
know that.
they...
You following?
Right.
Yeah, they have such a heavy Christian population that there are, like, because right now with the Pope is having a hard time with the African nations with the gay marriage because they're like, no, this
Right.
is not.
Did you
that's
guys see
not
that
right.
thing about the lightning striking the statue of the Pope?
Oh, yeah.
And it knocking his halo off?
It also struck the Statue of Liberty. And yeah, it knocked off the candle too. The candle that was in his hand.
When?
About like a couple months ago it happened. After he did the gay marriage thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's insane.
I missed that.
Lightning,
crazy.
so the
Yeah.
halo,
It's insane.
the halo on the statue represents their holiness.
is gone.
And lightning struck it, nothing else happened to the statue, but that came off.
But I think that in the candle too. Hold on, let me look. I can't get on the phone.
Okay, well,
I'll
let's
try.
finish
Yeah, let's keep
this.
going.
Let's keep
So,
going.
I'll
Once
look
the
it up.
11th king has consolidated his power, he begins to go to war against God himself and the saints of God. That is the believers. And then as far as, you know, the changing the times and the law. So the change a time could be the calendar, because our calendar is centered on the first coming of Christ. So of course Satan wants to change anything, you know, related to him.
So they're doing away with AD.
I was gonna say, do you think? No, they're doing away with BC too.
BC
It's called, and
AD.
now it's BCE, before Common Era,
Yeah.
and so I'm wondering if
AD.
By the way,
that's.
BCE, that's been a while.
It's been a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
that's
haven't heard the AD though.
AD after. What's AD?
After death.
death.
After death.
death, but I mean, I didn't hear the changing, them wanting to change that.
Well, the BCE was changed. So I thought they changed the AD.
I think they may have changed the meaning of AD. That's what I think they may have done.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think it ever meant before Christ or after. It's something else. But they're going to like outlaw that you say before Christ and after death.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be the changing of times. What did the others say about the changing of the law? And it says
That's
law.
where all your religious freedoms get changed.
One
Yes,
law.
yes.
One law.
Yeah.
Mine says law.
Okay.
Doesn't say plural.
Oh, a change in law could be almost anything.
I did find info on the lightning striking the Statue of Liberty. Nothing happened. So,
I thought she was designed to take that.
well,
Well, no. I'm talking about the candle in the hand of the Pope.
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
meant something.
I
Yeah,
think it's
no,
Statue of
just the
Liberty.
Statue of Liberty just got struck by
I
lightning.
know.
well, so the Statue of Liberty apparently gets struck by lightning several times a year.
Oh, okay. No big deal then.
It's a high metal point.
So the 11th horn reigns over the earth, persecuting the saints and opposing God for 3.5 years. And I was thinking, like what I have heard about, like with the rapture, is we're not gonna suffer God's wrath, and that's why we're raptured. But that I thought the tribulation, and it's the Antichrist who's causing all the problems, not God's wrath during the tribulation until the end. So you know what I mean? So the 3.5 years, it's the Antichrist killing, and you know.
Yeah, not God. No.
Right.
It's at the end of that he brings us back.
At the end of 7 years.
That he brings us back, but the rapture, like, we're supposed to be raptured so that we're not
Subject to the goings on of the tribulation.
right. So we could not so that, because that last part is the Antichrist gets to kill the saints and oppose God for 3.5 years.
The last 3.5 years.
We might.
last
So
thing-
there are people that believe that you get that there's pre-trib, mid-trib, and end-trib, and there's
But
people
even-
that believe
but-
in the rapture at different times.
But if you read the rest of the Bible, he always takes them out first.
a lot of
so
yeah, there's
So-
a pattern.
So the end is when the saints come back with
that's
God.
right.
But that's not. So you're not going to have his wrath there. But what I'm saying is the 3.5 years is the Antichrist wrath, not God's. It's the Antichrist killing the saints and doing this and that. So what I thought was, we're taken out of that to avoid God's wrath, but it's not God. It's the Antichrist.
It's the
who's doing
That's
this.
right. When we come
He
back,
allows him-
that's God's
he allows
wrath.
him those 3.5 years.
Right. That's
So,
but
That's
you-
when we'll be killing everything and sending it to the pit.
Right, but how are you going to get there? You may be killed by the Antichrist to get to come back with Christ.
What
So-
she's saying is that the
So
first.
you're saying we're not going to get raptured?
No,
so
she's
I'm saying that that's a possibility that it's not.
Not right. Not
That the rapture is after.
not in year 1 of 7. She's saying that rather than it being in year right. Am I right?
Well, the
'Cause
last 3.5 years is
are
when-
God's wrath.
Now the last
No,
3.5
there's no
years.
Oh my God.
There's no God's wrath here.
The last 3.5 years of the
And that's-
tribulation. That's the Antichrist.
So you're saying the possibility is that the rapture happens after the tribulation?
Well, that's when God's coming back.
Okay.
So.
But we're
So when's the rapture? If
think
that is
about
the
what you're
time,
saying.
where on the
I know what I'm
timeline?
saying. I know what I'm saying.
So then, where on that timeline? I'm at the genuine question. Where on that timeline is the rapture?
They're not always clear on the rapture, like that's in the Bible. Like
I'm clear on it.
I know.
I'm clear on it based on everything I have read, all of the pastors I've listened to,
Oh, I know.
all of the evidence in the Bible. But what you're saying is no, we're going to stick around for the end. We're going to be that. I don't agree with that. I understand that you can think that's fine,
I know.
but
I'm just
the evidence to me is very clear.
Or are you saying that the rapture is him killing
I'm
people?
just saying there's all kinds of thoughts on the rapture.
Well, of course.
And so
Okay,
And
but
before,
we're given some information here that we didn't get to yet.
Well,
yeah.
go ahead.
That
I think I know what she's talking about.
the court was seated,
Mm-hmm.
the books were opened,
hmm
okay? And all the while, up in heaven, Daniel watched them because of the sound of the pompous words which the horn was speaking. I watched till the beast was slain.
Mhm.
Okay, now what part of the 7 years is the last beast slain?
The end.
The 7, right. Okay, so this is the Antichrist. It's the last beast. And its body destroyed and given to the burning flame.
hell.
No.
No, Hades.
Judgment.
There's a holding place. This, I totally missed all of this.
I thought Hades was
That's
like a
why
Greek
this last
mythology
guy
thing.
put this together in a way that made sense.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I know what
yet
you're
their
saying.
lives were prolonged. Okay, so he's given to the burning flame. He's not killed. He's just put into Hades.
Yeah,
Hades
because
is
it comes out
hot.
at the end of the millennium.
Huh?
He's released at the end of the millennium.
Satan is. This
Yeah.
is the Antichrist.
Oh.
This is the beast. The Antichrist is slain at the end of the 7 years. And he's cast into Hades, which this guy explained Hades is a holding place. I've never heard this before. But I want to finish the scripture and then we'll talk about it. And the court was seated and the books were opened. We're up there in the 7 year period, which at the end, Daniel sees that this horrible creature is slain. He says slain, but he's thrown into the burning flame. Doesn't say he's killed. It says, I'm reading verse 11 or 12. As for the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a
This
time.
says killed. This says the beast was killed, and its body destroyed and given over to be burned with fire.
Right, but she's talking about the other three, not the fourth one.
No, the first, what she was just
the
talking
first
about
part
was
I
the-
was watching.
the
Yeah.
first one.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
beast was slain and
Well,
the
I'm
body
reading chapter
destroyed.
11.
Okay, but we have a physical body and we have a spiritual body. And he said that we have a picture. When we bury somebody in the grave, it's like we're planting a seed, but we expect it to come back to life. Isn't that what we believe? When we die, our physical body's in that grave, but our spirit and our soul are in heaven. Well, people who are the lost, they also lose their spiritual body. They don't go to heaven. They go to Hades without
Oh, I
a
see.
body.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
held in Hades.
Right.
The
Isn't
lost.
that hell?
Yes.
No.
No.
Hell, Haiti is.
Actually, Pastor just did this not that long ago.
Yeah, I think I heard him say
What
it.
is
Well, this
Haiti?
pastor explained it really good too.
What is Haiti?
It's like a holding tank.
So
Yeah.
then for the judgment, when it comes to the
Yeah.
final
So-
judgment.
Oh,
So
yes,
that's
that
what-
I've heard
this
about.
is the
yes.
judgment.
Yeah, that I've heard
This
about.
is the first judgment.
We just called it purgatory, I think, though.
Yeah.
No, purgatory is a holding place, but you could be going to heaven from purgatory.
Oh,
That's what
you
the
could go to
Catholics
heaven
do.
from
Yeah.
purgatory.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
picture that Haiti there. Everybody loses their
How
physical
much sin
body.
you have.
Whether you're a believer or you're a lost person,
Mhm.
we all die,
Mhm.
and if you're a believer, your body's dead, your spirit and your soul go to heaven. If you're a non-believer and you're lost, your body dies, your spirit and soul go to Haiti. Okay, now at this point in this 7-year period, we're up worshiping. God's the judge. He's opening the book. And he explained it like this. God knows if you think you're getting away with anything here, you're not. He knows everything, every good thing you've ever done, every bad thing you've ever done. But when you're a believer, all your bad is gone. Your book, there's no other books that have anything bad you did. The only book he has, and he talks about this book, your name has been in there from the beginning. Because he knew which one of us we're gonna give in and which ones weren't. We're gonna defy him to the end. That's how our name is in the book. So then he goes later. Let's see where he talks about it again. So he told me and made note to me in the interpretation. These great beasts, which are four, will rise out of but the saints most high receive. Then I wish to know the truth about the fourth beast.
Where are you?
Verse 19. Let me see. I was watching the same horn making war. Okay, so that little horn is going to make war against the saints.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make war against Christians.
Yeah.
When he comes, and he's going to prevail against them.
And those are the Christians. Those are the new Christians because everybody's
Okay, this is the 7-year period now.
right. But these are the people that become Christians because of what's going on. That they come to God during.
So, like, when it could be the Christians that when you're raptured and your family goes, oh,
They were right.
Right.
They were
The people
right.
that become converted due to the goings on.
Right. But is there going to be any believer left?
Yes.
no, he kills them all.
Huh?
I think
no,
he-
but at the time of the start of of this tribulation, when the Antichrist comes on the scene, he was making war against the saints, prevailing against them until the Ancient of Days came and a judgment was made in favor of the... See, and it doesn't say here, but that's why this has to go with Revelation. Who's going to be left? The 144,000. God's going to take 144,000, and somewhere it must say Jewish men.
Well, it's
They're from the
that's
tribe
that's-
of no, the tribes of.
Yeah, that's in like chapter.
So yeah, they are Jewish.
Okay, so yeah, they're Jewish men, and he's going to protect them, like say
That's
put
in
them
7.
in a camp
He
somewhere.
seals them.
Yeah, he'll seal them. He'll protect them from the Antichrist, so that they can go around and make believers, as many believers. But we're gone.
Not
Because
according to Lisa.
now, but this is not about us. If you laid a map out, the center of the map is
So we-
Israel. It's not America. It's not the church.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
we know that.
Israel. So you lay the map out. The center of God's world is Israel. So all that's going to be, this is now for Israel believers to become believers again. This is not about any of us. This is about Israel, God's nation coming to Him, and He's gonna
Finally.
right. So He's going to somehow, these 144,000 Jewish men are going to then be Christian, and they're going to go and get as many believers as they can. But what He said. Anybody know anything about Jewish marriages?
No.
What do?
You stomp on the
No,
glass.
you
You carry the
You carry them in a chair. Is that what you were
in
going
the
to
chair.
say?
You carry him in a chair.
you get betrothed, And then the guy goes and he prepares a house for her. He builds, they don't get married, they get betrothed. And then he goes and gets a house built or whatever. Then they have the actual wedding feast.
Which lasts like
7 days.
Yeah.
7 years. So we will be, so he said it doesn't make sense. Like, why would you want, would that husband want his bride during that betrothal period to be beheaded, crucified, whatever hardships you're going to go through? No, that's why God says, I'm going to go and prepare a place for you. We're betrothed now. We just haven't had the wedding feast yet. We're here awaiting.
But yet there's a lot of people martyred. There's a lot of Christians martyred.
Oh, yeah, right. But if
Aw.
you didn't get your food when Daddy fed you. But he's saying like this. Now we're dead. You know, we're up waiting for the feast. When we come back, we're going to ride back on white horses behind Jesus, who's on his white horse. But we're up there now being judged for the 7 years.
We're coming back, but it all depends on how you get there.
But he's saying,
Well, who's the Antichrist going to kill then? If
He's-
we're all up there.
The new Christians.
There are going to be people that watch that rapture
Like a lot
That-
of our family.
Yeah.
that did not believe. They chose not to believe.
they call them the lost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they see the rapture, they're going to be like, oh crap, they were right. Unless they believe whatever alien theory they come up with.
Yeah.
Which there will be plenty
That
who do.
I think that's still going to be willful ignorance because
Well,
doesn't it say?
God's going to miraculously do these 144.
Go ahead, buddy. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Sorry.
Something about I don't remember something about when the rapture happens, doesn't everybody know? Doesn't it say like everybody knows? Because
Well, it's going to cause such chaos, but it's going to take a while.
it's like everyone will. I think it was in.
But I think the reason why all of a sudden now that they're saying, "Ooh, there's aliens, is because this is part of the deception.
They
So
said
that when all these people disappear, they're going to say it was an alien abduction. And unfortunately, if you see half of the people in the world, they're idiots and they're probably going to believe it because half of them are just led by the nose.
Right.
They haven't really like reinforced that or proven that. They just were like, yeah, aliens are real.
That's what I mean. It, out of like nowhere, it's just.
But
They're not even reinforcing it, which I think is funny.
but there are going to be people
Yes, of course.
who will be like, holy crap, and they're going to be looking for any Bible they can find. Looking for hope. That's where your conversion, that's where the 144,000,
people are going to be
Can-
there.
those are the recruits, are the tribulation saints,
So
If
long
they
as
get killed.
if they get killed.
And
And they will get
half,
killed.
The first 3.5 years of that 7 years is going to be pretty calm because, see, and we're also called the restrainer. So the restrainer is taken out of the way, the church. Well, now all this chaos, they're looking for anybody to fix every ill in society, and this guy's going to come up and he's going to say he can fix everything, and they're going to. So the first 3.5 years are going to not be as nearly like the last 3.5.
No, when you see the treaty get signed, that's when you know. The 7-year peace treaty. Whoever signs the peace treaty with Israel, then you know.
Right.
That's the Antichrist, and that's the beginning of the
Israel's
tribulation.
going to be feeling pretty safe. Amir even posted that this week.
That's why I think
he said when this happens, the final war, Israel's going to be caught off guard. It's not all this. It's going to be, these nations coming, 7, 8 nations coming against them. They're going to be feeling secure that there's peace because they're going to be the first ones to believe this guy.
Oh yeah,
Israel's going to
the Jews are going to
this
think
guy's
he's the
bringing
Messiah.
Peace.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be somebody in Israel that they respect.
I don't know. I don't know.
And then
he probably won't be Jewish.
I don't think so. No, I think he's
no.
probably going to be like a noble, like a I don't know. I feel like he's going to come out of like not even a royal family, but maybe like a high ranking, like very high level, like Rockefeller type, family. Now, whether it's going to be a political family, I don't know enough about the Antichrist. I haven't read up enough about
Yeah,
it.
me
No.
Okay, so
But-
let's finish about the court. But the court,
I don't
I'm in
think there's
verse
really too much
26.
to read up on the Antichrist. Like
26.
There's not,
But
like,
the-
where he could possibly come from.
The court shall be seated, and they shall take away his dominion. So the saints shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and time and a half. So the saints will be given into the Antichrist's hand the last 3.5 years, for sure. And he said that they're going to be beheaded. That's going to be the form of.
That's actually not a bad way to go, considering the way you could go.
But the court shall be seated,
That's what I
and they
was
shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it forever. So this court up in heaven, God's going to allow the Antichrist to go as long as God says he can go. And that's what he's been showing Daniel all this time. I don't care what your plans are. It's my plan. I'm in control, and I'm going to do.
And he's giving.
So he's giving the Antichrist 3.5 years, and then
To
it's
behead
done.
Christians.
Huh?
To behead Christians.
No,
Christ-
but it's for Christian. He's
the
giving
tribulation
people.
saints.
He's giving people time to come to him.
Yeah, so yeah. And then the kingdom, dominion, the greatness of the kingdoms of their whole shall be given to the people, the saints of the Most High. So now the kingdom's going to go to God, to Jesus. He's coming back. And then that's the end of the account. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts greatly troubled, my countenance changed. Like he got pale. Like,
His
I would
color
too.
changed.
Yeah, he's scared.
But I kept the matter in my heart.
Right, yeah.
And then at the end, read the last paragraph.
I mean, I kept it to myself.
This is
yeah.
the end of the count. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts greatly troubled me, and the countenance changed. But I kept the matter in my heart.
And then the last one,
Till I wrote it
didn't
down.
get to finish.
Okay.
Same thing. In chapter 8, and I, Daniel, was overcome and lay sick for some days. Then I rose and went about the king's business, but I was appalled by the vision and did not understand it. That's chapter 8, the next one we're getting into at the end. So here he's like, his color changes, but there he's sick.
Yeah.
Of what? I didn't read chapter 8.
Oh, there's so much to come in this. I'm like, they said, I think chapter 10, if you don't leave that chapter changed, there's something wrong with us. But this,
Every chapter I leave changed.
Well, yeah. Now you're rooting us down.
why?
She thinks we're not going.
There's going to
so-
be a fight. We.
I really got her going.
Oh,
Well,
Lisa.
some of us might, and some of us might
Well-
not.
What? Be raptured?
No, we're all going to get raptured, but no. What you're saying, if some of us, if this happens before the rapture, like we'll be here and some of us will be killed.
Oh yeah, no, we would all be then.
What I, and you tell me if I'm wrong, what I think she's saying is that yes, the rapture can take place, but it could take place anywhere within that first 3.5 years.
Yeah.
That it's not a guarantee that as soon as things get bad, that we're not
Yeah.
going to be gone. That it could be anywhere within that 3.5 years while it's still relatively calm that we'll get pulled up.
I thought that we read
But
somewhere,
although, yeah, that's right. They say that you're not.
if you look down and see your toes, it's not the Antichrist.
I don't.
We don't
I was really
have-
falling asleep for him. So
We don't have enough information.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Keep it
Yeah.
in
so there's those who, they're pre-trib, then there's those
Mid-trib,
who mid-trib,
Post-trib, yeah.
yeah,
There are people that have all three
all
different
Okay,
beliefs.
so let's talk about one more thing. We talked
I'm
about
just getting-
deeds. Were you done?
yeah.
Okay, the deeds.
She's just provoking me.
Deeds show that we're a Christian, right? You know a tree by its fruit. So this was our deeds show if we are born again. Lost people also their deeds will show they are not believers. Hell will be worse for some people, just like heaven will be better for some people. It doesn't. Your deeds don't keep you out, but that's why we need this 7 years will be judged. Like God's gonna that's all the judging will take place.
In the
As
7
far-
years?
Yeah, while we're up in heaven.
I'll be in a trailer in heaven. Or
Yeah, we're
tent.
going to be up there in heaven before we come back with Jesus.
I'm not going to live in
The
a
judging
mansion.
is during the 7 years. It's at the end.
Is
It's
that
at the end of the 7 years.
your version of
Well, this is saying right here, the judging
Well, because
is taking
I
place.
just barely got in.
I think that's the judging that's
so I'm not
current
being
on
heavily
the earth.
rewarded. So
No,
instead of
this
having a
is
mansion
judging
in heaven, I'm having a
Lord.
trailer.
Books were open. What? Oh no, I forgot. Ooh, she's out. Lizzie's out back.
Wait, so then who
Oh.
was that?
Oh well, yeah.
Who
That's
was?
Minnie.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hell will be worse for some people, as will heaven will be better. We can't hide from a holy God.
Did she call you, Jeff? Let me in.
None of God's evidence will be thrown out in court. You know how today, like the courts just throw out whatever they want. God's a perfect judge. He's not. None of this evidence for the lost is going to be thrown out. That's why he's the perfect judge, and we should let judgment to him. The book of life. All other books are erased for believers, and he will judge the lives of the lost also. So when the lost are in hell, it's going to be more horrible for people who've done worse things.
Yeah.
Hell isn't equal, just like heaven won't be equal. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but they will get a new body. He
I'm gonna
said
have a hut.
they will get a body that will, so they aren't consumed. If you just threw a person into hell, they'd be immediately consumed immediately. So God's going to give them a body that they live also forever, but in hell, like in eternal hell. A lot of people
It
believe
sounds
they
so
die.
bad. That sounds so bad, but they choose it.
Right.
Well, 'cause they
right.
don't know.
And that's what this pastor said.
Some
if you
choose
end
it
up
and they
in
do.
hell, it's your own
Yes, they
choosing.
do.
You did it to yourself. And we know that. God gave us the conscience to know
Every
that there's a God,
opportunity.
you know, and so what he's saying is that he's showing us how this beast is destroyed here. That's exactly what's going to happen to the lost. They're going to be given a new body that preserves them in hell, so they can live in hell for eternity, not be consumed and die instantly, and not have to. They will have pain, and people who did worse things will have more pain in hell than people who did maybe just a little bit of things bad. Hades is the holding place for the lost till they're thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is where there's actually the pain occurs. And the first one to go into the lake of fire is the Antichrist at the end of the 7 years. Satan is bound for 1,000 years. He goes into hell after the 1,000 years. But Antichrist and his assistant or whatever,
Groupies.
they go in at the end of the 7 years. God raises up those in Hades. He gives them resurrected bodies too, and then he throws them into the hell lake of fire for all of eternity. We all get a new body. Those in hell will feel pain but never be consumed. The devil joins the Antichrist in the lake of the fire after the 1,000 years. And he's pointed out in the Bible, like he said, people argue, oh, that's, it's not really fire. He said, nowhere else in the Bible does God use a metaphor to describe hell. It's always fire. So he says, I'm saying it's fire. But that's what hell is, fire. Everything happens at God's timetable and according to his plan. The application for today is anyone who studies prophecy, when you study prophecy, it should lead us to action. And what's that action? To spread the gospel and prevent anyone that we possibly can from going to hell.
Yes.
Because now we understand it's not, they're kept alive forever in
Suffering.
hell. They always try to explain it to us like it's a separation from God. Who wants to be separated from God? I think it's more than that.
No, that's my whole thing is that, like, the people who have visions of hell, or they have a near-death experience and they go to hell, they say it is the separation from God, but it's a thirst that nothing quenches. It is hot. It is terrible. It is screaming and like it's...
Yeah. And he said it's like a picture. If you picture a sunset, a picture of the sunset is nothing close to actually seeing it yourself. So a picture in here of hell or a picture, it's not even going to be close to what as actually happens. But I never thought that they got a new body too. That otherwise they would be consumed when they were thrown in there. And then that's what a lot of people teach, that, oh, you just die and you cease to exist.
Or they think it's going to be a party in hell.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like Satan will protect them if they do enough of his work.
Oh yeah. They say why serve in heaven when you can reign in hell?
But you don't.
No.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So by studying, we should be moved to action. We should not have apathy, but we should have compassion for those who don't believe. Because now, we have a better understanding. It should not lead us to arrogance, but should move us to compassion. We want all to be saved from hell, the tribulation, and the eternal wrath of God.
What does that action look like?
Right.
And
I wrote this down. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and sacrifices his own soul? The joy of saving one soul for Christ should change your life. Take someone through the gospel, invite someone to church, invite someone to our study. If you reject, he said, if someone rejects the truth in this day,
I'm going because
you will believe what is false
Yeah.
during the 7-year trib.
But maybe I might have an extra rope.
Wait, say that again?
I don't know.
If a person rejects the truth in this day, they will believe what is false in the day of the Antichrist. So they will spend eternity wishing they had changed their mind.
You already see it, the delusion. People are just delusional.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you put the facts right in front of their face, and they're like, "No, that's lies. No, that's not how it works."
So,
That's
those
a
aren't
choice.
the ones.
Oh,
those
yeah.
aren't the ones
Yeah.
who are
But
going to be.
But I think
changed.
it's because, my personal opinion is because they've separated themselves from God. So Satan has been allowed to go into them and allow them to accept these things as being normal and allow them to be delusionalized.
That's what we're going to.
Because you're
I think
further,
that's coming. In Daniel.
yeah. The further
It's
away
coming.
from God you are, the more delusional you are. And look at.
I think one of these chapters we learn all about the spiritual realm and what is going on there. Daniel has a vision of that, and then he said that's the one that it said we're going to be changed.
It's a really good book.
It really is.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I never thought when I would start reading the Bible, I'd be like, whoa.
Well, you know what?
I feel.
It's
You
like,
know what else though? Do you think it's because of the time we're in?
Yes.
I think that's part of it, but I also think that, being here, listening to the pastors, and having to study Bible. Because otherwise I read it, and I'm kind of like... Because then sometimes I'll read it, and I'll think something totally different than what it actually is. So, I tried buying the Book of Enoch, and I started reading it, and I'm like, I'm going to do Exodus first, since we just finished Genesis, and then I'll go back to Enoch, because I want to get a study guide to go with Enoch, because I'm reading it, and I'm like, what are they talking about? I have no idea what they're saying.
I saw somebody who preaches on the books. Where did it's one of them. It might be
Enoch?
Yes.
Oh, that was great.
I'll
Because
look for it again.
I started it,
Yeah, you
and
need
I
to-
was like, I don't know what's happening.
It might be Pastor Joe has taught on all the other books that aren't included that are in the
That are in
Catholic.
the
You
Bible.
should pray out.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it is 9.
There's we have to pray out.
Wait, no, wait. All right, well, pray out, and then I got a question.
Well, I got one more thing. We were talking about the Pope thing, the lightning striking the statue of the Pope. So I looked that up. Lightning did, in fact, strike the statue of the Pope.
Yes.
There are lightning rods on the building 30 to 40 feet above the statue, and yet it still hit the statue. It took off the the right hand, which had a key.
That was what it was, the key. Not
And-
the candle, the key. That's what it was.
And even though it hit the hand, the halo came off too. Both of these things were iron.
Oh, wow.
And the key has significance.
He's a little ticked, I would say.
It also,
Day.
it happened on his birthday.
On his birthday.
On the
The Pope's 87th birthday.
Seriously.
On Sunday,
cool.
December
Is this
17th.
a picture of him?
Unbelievable.
A statue of him?
On Sunday,
The actual Pope now?
no, I don't-
No, it's a
Oh.
statue that represents the
current Pope.
Just the Pope in general.
Oh, okay.
It happened on
Wow.
Sunday, December 17th, 2023. Lightning literally pulverized the key and halo of the statue of St. Peter,
St. Peter.
located on the facade of the sanctuary. So it destroyed that, and it pulverized it. So it was like pebbles on at the bottom of the statue.
So when did the Pope... When did
The
he-
gay marriage thing?
Yeah. When did
That
he-
I'm not sure.
Reception.
Do you have our are you on our internet?
I
See,
am
and
not.
like who would
But
put
that's
those
okay.
two and
Next
two
time.
together if it's not
JJJ.
talked about? You know?
Chairs.
That's not...
Try to get on.
Okay, so I just Googled it. The reportings I'm seeing for that are on December 18th.
And that happened on the 17th.
Yes.
JJ, our
What happened the
chairs.
day before?
No.
It happened the day the decision was made. It wasn't announced
Yeah.
till the next day.
Yes.
Oh.
So yes,
Love it.
the Pope
love
says
it.
gay marriage is okay.
Goodness.
Lightning beats up St. Peter's statue. You can
So-
see, it's weird because, I'm sorry,
J,
you can
J,
see the
E,
hand
E-F.
is missing and there's a scorch mark.
Did it go?
And there's a
So
before
that doesn't wake
picture.
the
Yeah,
Pope up.
thank you.
Okay.
I don't know what...
And there's a before picture. There's 3 iron things on him. He's holding like a
You wanna
big,
get on?
I'm not sure if it's a sword or
not
not. I
having
couldn't
a
really
problem.
tell.
Okay.
But he's holding a big thing that goes across his whole body. The handle is iron. That's
we have to
fine.
pray out.
Yes, I know.
Pray.
Oh, we were talking about this before.
Okay, sorry.
But the other iron parts are gone. But anyway, we're going to pray out.
Dear Lord, thank you for being with us this week while we study the prophecies of Daniel. Some scary stuff, upsetting, but all in your control. And while we understand that it's both awe-inspiring and scary, I know we're not supposed to have fear, and I know that we won't be here for it, hopefully. But times are hard, and we just appreciate what you've given to us. We all have amazing lives. We have good friends, good family. Look at just in our group alone. It's an amazing group of people that just love you and just want to learn and just want to know everything that you're trying to teach us. And we are grateful to you for the lives that you've given us, and especially for our salvation, Lord. Because we won't be meeting next week, Lord, keep everybody protected. Wrap your arms around us. Let us not have bad things interfering in our lives. Let us go forward to continue learning and having a clear understanding of what you're trying to teach us. We're ready for you to come back, Lord, in your time and in your will. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
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 How
All right, everybody, have a good night.
So you, yeah.